You co-wrote this book with your father, Ric Flair, and he, of course, has been going through some publicized health challenges, and I just wanted to see how he's doing today, Charlotte.
He's doing really well. He actually got to go home last week, so thank you for asking.
You're very welcome. Now, before the break, when we were bringing you in, we actually showed that your father is the subject of our upcoming 30 for 30 film, Nature Boy, and I gotta say, around these parts, everyone's really excited, but what do you think people are gonna be most surprised to learn about your father?
How open my dad is on the sacrifices he made to be the greatest of all time. And I know that was hard as a family member to watch, but really, I mean, my dad is an icon, and it's amazing to see him so open to talk about his fears and what he did wrong and what he did right. And I couldn't be more proud of him.
Yeah, you mentioned what it was like to be a family man and growing up with him as your dad, and you get into that subject in your book about having a parent that was an international superstar. How would you describe your father's role in your life as an adolescent?
He was my biggest supporter, and no one pushed me as hard as he did. I mean, he had me with a personal trainer since the moment I could walk, and I think that's what's turned me into the performer I am today, because I watched my dad be the hardest worker in the room, and that, you know, stayed with me my entire life. But it's almost, you know, that's almost my downfall, is because I am so hard on myself, and I watched him be the same way.
When did the magnitude of your dad's popularity fully register with you?
I want to say it did in 2007 when he wrestled Shawn Michaels when he retired, but it didn't. It didn't really register with me until I started in the WWE and realized that all of my, you know, performers that I work with, you know, watch and idolize my dad growing up, and to me he was just dad. And then to see him still mean something in the industry today, and even in the outside world of the WWE, people know who he is, and it just blows my mind.
I want to get back to the book, and you mentioned that your dad has always been your biggest champion, even since you were young, and that you had a personal trainer when you were young, probably why you had an opportunity to play volleyball at a D1 school. You gave up that scholarship at App State so that you could go live with your then husband. And in the book, you detail some of your experiences of domestic violence in that relationship. What did you learn about yourself through that experience?
I would not be where I am today had I not gone through those experiences. And that's why I open up in this book, because I want people to know that you're not alone. And for so long, I let my past define me, and I was embarrassed. And now I see myself 5 years later getting out of that relationship, and I'm part of this amazing women's movement in WWE, and it's very empowering. And to know that 5 years ago, I had no dreams, no aspirations, no goals, and I felt so small, and I overcome that. And it's me opening that door to letting other, even men and women, know wherever they are in life that your past does not define you, and you can make a change at any time.
What was the turning point for you to change your life and start to have goals and aspirations?
My turning point is a story that I tell in the book. And when I walked through the doors at NXT in July of 2012, I never looked back. I never dreamed of success. I just worked for it. And I spent so many years living in that marriage and trying to save my little brother's life. But ultimately, he saved mine through having a dream to be a WWE superstar. And that's 2012 July is when I made the decision that I'm going to go for it and stop living, you know, in this world where I felt alone and that I wasn't good enough.
You mentioned your brother, Reed, who did pass away in 2014 at the age of 25. And I know in the book you said that he pushed you, but now you're living his dream. What do you mean by you're living his dream?
I never grew up wanting to be a WWE superstar. I played sports. I played Division I volleyball. I never saw myself as an entertainer, nonetheless, you know, carrying on my father's legacy. And that's what my little brother wanted. My little brother wanted to be my dad since, you know, we were kids. That was his dream. And to know that I now am carrying the torch and continuing my father's legacy, and that's what my brother's dream was. And I would have never, you know, looked at myself or thought I could do this if it wasn't for him saying, hey, let's go to WWE and wrestle together.
And now look at you, you're a WWE superstar, and because of that, there's all kinds of buzz about pitting you against another big face, that being Ronda Rousey, who people think could be making a move to WWE. Is there any way that we'll see Charlotte Flair versus Ronda Rousey at WrestleMania next year?
I hope so.
Who's behind making that decision?
I think it's probably, WWE's decision and Ronda's decision.
So you're all in?
I'm all in.
All right. The book is out now, Second Nature. Charlotte Flair, thanks for joining us here on SportsCenter. A lot longer than you anticipated you'd have to.
Thank you for having me.